Hello, everyone. Welcome from wherever or whenever you are watching to Improving Property Management ROI through Reputation Partnership. We are really excited today to have some truly industry leaders on our discussion panel today and to have a conversation for them that is enlightening and gives you actionable insight. I know people say industry leader a lot. That's kind of an overused term, but in this case, it truly does fit. So we're really excited today for what we get to bring you. First, a little Bright Talk housekeeping. Please go ahead and follow our Reputation.com Bright Talk channel. We have a lot more information that is solution and industry specific. So please go ahead and look that up. And under your screen, there's a tab that says attachments. In that has several links, and even today's presentation deck, it has additional resources for you. And even though you won't be watching this live, please leave feedback. We actually go back and look at that. And that helps us curate better information for you and do a better job bringing you things that can help you in your professional life. So go ahead and engage with us with Bright Talk. Our host today, I'm over here on the far left. My name is Colby Kennedy. I'm the product marketing manager at Reputation.com. And luckily today we have Miss Rebecca Biestman. She's our CMO at Reputation.com, as well as our esteemed guest, Mr. Greg Benson from Greystar. He's the Director of U.S. Strategic Property Marketing and has just a wealth of knowledge and experience in that property management industry with reputation management and customer experience. So our agenda today, we're going to take you through Reputation.com, who we are in the space, what we call RXM. We're going to define that for you, give you a little bit of background on it, and then talk a little bit about what RXM and we do for property management. And that's Rebecca Biestman's going to take you through that. And then we're going to get to the meat of today's presentation, our interview with Greg Benson. And that's going to be broken down into mainly three sections. The first is overcoming objections to reputation management partnership and kind of how to navigate that world of resistance to having a trusted partner in the reputation management space. Next will be future-proofing through innovation. So we're going to be talking about a lot of the benefits that go along with a partnership. And lastly, we're going to hit home a little bit more on how partnering with a reputation firm has improved Greystar's ROI. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our CMO, Rebecca Biestman, to take it away. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Great. Thanks, Colby. So I'll be kicking it off by talking to everybody today about Reputation.com, reputation experience management, and how all of that relates to the property management industry. So a little bit about Reputation.com to kick us off. We have a very large established footprint with some of the most prominent property management firms here, and we're lucky enough to be able to talk with Greystar today. And we know that reputation experience management is something that matters to the industry. So that quote on the right side of the slide, 86% of residents say that online reviews have an impact on renters' decision-making process, is very important to us. And all of the modules that live on our platform, which we'll talk about in a little bit, definitely have relevance here. And we know they make a big impact on property managers' businesses. So sort of our founding tenets and the reason why we're here at Reputation.com is really born out of a need in the market. We saw that marketing teams in general, those who manage online reputations and unstructured data, they were really struggling with ways to make that more holistic across the customer journey and really start to manage that customer experience. And so what we do here at Reputation.com, what our platform does so well, is that it really brings together marketing teams, customer experience teams, and helps to manage all of the feedback that you're getting from structured data and unstructured data, solicited feedback and unsolicited feedback, and how is that all in one place? And that's really what we call reputation experience management. So we help companies get found, get chosen, and then get better. And we help to take all of that feedback into our platform. Our reputation experience management platform help companies listen, understand, act on all sources of feedback, and then amplify that feedback on the channels that matter most to them. And so how we affect property management specifically is that our tools, everything from listings to reviews to social media modules to action modules, they help improve companies' sentiment, they help improve companies' businesses' decisions, and they also increase conversion rates and increase companies' visibilities on, again, those channels that matter most to them. So now we're going to dig in a little bit. I have the great opportunity to interview Greg Benson today. So we will get into some of the questions and some of the discussion. As Colby mentioned earlier, our first segment of this interview is really about objection handling when it comes to reputation management and onboarding and instituting a reputation experience platform. So Greg, my first question for you is, what are some arguments or areas of resistance that you've seen when talking about onboarding or bringing on a reputation management platform?
And all the trials and tribulations associated with it. I think the typical arguments, I think, are going to be familiar to most people when you're trying to introduce a new concept. It's, I don't have the budget to pay for it. I'm going to have to hire staff to maintain and manage the program. In the multifamily industry, we have great relationships with a number of providers of survey services that are talking directly to prospects and residents in the moment during key activities in their life cycle. So we already are getting feedback. And then we hear a lot of times from owners and some of our operations team members that this feeling of most of the online reviews are all negative, right? And that doesn't help us in any way, or it doesn't really paint a true picture. So that's typically what we experience.
Yeah, that's great. And so you've talked a little bit about some of the maybe objections that come about, and if you've experienced resistance to management or some of the key owners themselves actually utilizing the platform. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? And since you do use a tool now, what's changed their minds? What's been some of the circumstance or some of the feature functionality with the tool itself that's really helped bring them along?
That is a fantastic question, and I'll just start with an emphatic absolutely yes. We saw resistance. When we proposed a program back in 2012, we got resistance both internally and externally. So we had to manage a variety of different conversations. All of those types of objections that I mentioned a minute ago came up for sure. One of the things that we saw, though, was the opportunity here, this challenge in getting better and being able to have really good information to do that, coupled with how that could impact ROI at the property level. So we found a couple of our key clients that also saw the potential and were willing to kind of take a leap of faith along with us and make an investment in this area. So we did some pilots. And over probably about an 18-month period, we saw some really good early promising results. We created some case studies. We were able to show not only increases in online review scores that are public facing, but behind the scenes, our conversion rates, properties with higher scores were attracting more leads, converting into leases at a higher percentage. Those were all kind of nice go to the rest of our client base to get buy-in. And I would say it probably took us a good solid 4 years before we got to a point that it was widely understood as the right approach and an investment that was worthwhile. I think one thing too that was certainly very helpful, and I think others in the industry will attest to this, is roughly around 2014, 2015, there was a tremendous amount of conversation in the industry on the topic of online reputation or online reviews. So all of the conferences, all of the industry talking heads were constantly bringing up this topic. So getting that sort of external validation to all of the things that we were talking about was immensely helpful. So that was great.
And Just talking about kind of external validation, external benchmarking leads nicely into the next question that I have for you, which is around Aura Score. And we know that Aura Score is very important to property management firms. We here at Reputation.com also provide a reputation score, and it's kind of like a snapshot of a company's digital reputation. And the rep score has and probably will continue to be used in tandem with other industry metrics like Aura Score. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how you guys use rep score today, how that might work in tandem with some of the other industry benchmarks that you use in your business.
Sure, that's a great question, Rebecca. So when we first launched the program, we were wholly reliant on the reputation score. There wasn't really any other means of aggregating a Yelp review or something that was on apartment ratings, for example. So it was a really valuable tool for us, and it allowed us to benchmark and measure the increase in scores and performance, going back to some of those case studies. But what we quickly realized was at the time, the multifamily industry was pretty new to Reputation.com, and the multifamily industry had absolutely no understanding at large what your score was, what it meant, how it was calculated. It just didn't connect. And where Aura came in, honestly, they've done a great job with their PR. So from an industry-facing perspective, new business development, having conversations with our internal executives, that's been a good tool sort of on that front. Where we rely on the reputation score, though, and your platform is really, I think, in the most meaningful way, which is all of those actionable insights that are provided through the platform that help us. I like to think of it as sort of a report card of here's all of the things that you can do to improve today and create a better experience for your residents. You'll increase your star rating, you'll increase your reputation score, your Aura score will go up by extension. That's been really the most exciting part for us. And we are working with your team today, I think we were chatting about this earlier, to develop a more advanced and kind of custom reporting for Greystar to reintroduce the reputation score at the executive level and try to do more with that. Particularly one of the advantages that we like is that you guys can provide us some cross-industry analysis and helping us sort of how do we do with the automotive industry that's a peer industry to ours, or hospitality, for example.
Wow, that's great. And so beyond just core functionality of the product, what do you think are some of the most important attributes that a property management firm should be looking for when they're thinking about engaging with a reputation experience management partner?
Yeah. I think the answer to the question will be familiar to most people that have run any sort of significant project in an organization, right? Because there's a number of things that you just sort of have to check those boxes. Now, from a Greystar perspective, the things that we're going to start with, of course, is going to be the quality of the product and its ease of use. We have community managers and other on-site team members that are using the tool on a regular basis. We have our corporate regional managers and our marketing staff using it, and our data performance team. So how does it work for all of those different stakeholders is going to be critically important. And then we look at service and support, right? Now, from a Greystar perspective, we're not unique to the industry, but we cover every time zone in the United States, including Hawaii. So we're going to also not just think about what is the quality of the service and support, but do you have hours of operation that could support us from East Coast to Hawaii and everything in between? And then we look at the cultural compatibility of the organizations, the relationship management team, the service team that's interacting with those frontline users. Are we able to get along really well? So those are a couple of kind of maybe the more obvious things, but we are also wanting to find partners that offer organizational scalability and are going to constantly strive for innovation and improvement, and then be really good communicators around what that roadmap is so that we can connect our strategies together and figure out how to efficiently grow our business between the partnership. And I think too that the other aspects of that would be important, would be maybe what we'll describe as do you guys play nice in the sandbox with some of our other platform and partner providers, right? So we use a number of back-end systems to run our marketing operations. We have other partners that are delivering services that are ancillary to reputation management. We want to aggregate all that data, and you've been a good partner that way. So I'll check the box for you now. I know that wasn't part of the question, but yeah, those are the things that we think about when we'll assess a partner like that.
That's great. Yeah, that wasn't even part of my question, but we'll take it.
Right.
My next question does have to do with something you mentioned, which is around scalability, because we feel like that is one of the big differentiators of our platform. We know it's so important to our partners like you. So I was wondering if you had an example that came to mind of when our platform was performing at scale and the business value that you guys saw from that performance.
Sure. We think about scale, or I think about scale really kind of two perspectives, and you guys have checked both the boxes. The first would be products and services that are offered, right? And the second is going to be, can you help us create operational efficiency? So if you think about those two buckets, so from a products and services perspective, when we first started with you in 2012, we were just using the basic dashboard tool at that time. And over the length of our relationship, the last 8 years, we've layered on the social dashboard product. We introduced the business listings program in 2020. We're kind of everything in between there as well. We've also are in talks right now to enable texting capabilities, and we're working with your organization to beta test your operational insights tool. So from a products and services perspective, your drive for innovation and to offer more comprehensive services, kind of touching back on your definition of reputation experience management, has been perfect. And then from an operational efficiency perspective, kind of goes back to my playing nice in the sandbox comment. You guys have been great to work with, building integrations between some of our backend systems. So more specifically, we use an enterprise level digital asset management tool to help us manage all of our property photography, videography, floor plans, logo files globally. And we've been able to build plumbing and electrical connections with you guys to allow the business listings product to be automatically updated on a regular basis and create these awesome workflows. So those are a couple of great examples, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What kind of impact is having all of these different modules, as you talked about, and as I talked about when we were thinking about what RXM means in action? What does that all mean for your business to have all of these different listening posts, as we call them, or all these modules housed in one platform for you guys?
Yeah, I feel like I keep talking about sort of things on the back end, or maybe not the quite so obvious things when I answer questions. I guess it's just sort of like the nature of the role that I'm in and my teams. But I think it's fair to say that the product and the capabilities of the product have immensely been important in driving forward the success that we've had interacting with our prospects and residents. And our on-site teams who are engaging in those reviews and talking to those customers have really derived a lot of benefits from it. Now, from a impact of having all the tools in one system, I think about things like the social dashboard tool. Because of Greystar's footprint, anytime there's wildfires or a hurricane that's approaching the United States, COVID certainly a good example as well, we have the ability to leverage the capabilities of that social dashboard tool to provide centralized support to all of our teams on the front lines. And that's been fantastic, because with just one or two team members, we can take the work off of the plate of hundreds of our on-site team members or our local marketing staff, so they can stay focused on team member and resident safety. They can make sure that they're looking out for the physical well-being of the property, and they don't have to worry about all the little things that are out there. So that's been a huge plus for us in 2020 with all of the craziness the world has brought us. But I think the other thing that's interesting too is, I said we're getting ready to kind of do a pilot on operational insights, but we did sort of a baby beta or a baby pilot with you earlier this year during COVID, and tying that into our current protocols, we actually saw a 5% incremental lift in just 2 months on our reputation scores and star ratings at the properties in the pilot. So it was well beyond our expectations in just a short period of time to be able to take those insights and put them into work. So we've already baked into our 2021 business plan how to take that to scale across our entire portfolio.
That's fantastic. Wow. So another question for you, and you've touched on this already, is outside of some of the less visible benefits that you've gotten from using our platform, what has it been like for you or your teams working with our teams on our side, people that are reputation experience management experts, some of our reps, some of our support team, because we know on our side that's such a vital component to our offering, and you guys have that experience firsthand.
Yeah, I think there's sort of maybe two layers to the question. So, like thinking about your staff specifically, there's been a couple of instances that I can think of just recently where the team's been really helpful in troubleshooting or solving some problems. We could have certainly figured them out on our own, if you will, but you helped us do that much more efficiently and with a heck of a lot less of headaches along the way. The one that really sticks out for me, Rebecca, is Facebook. Changes fairly often all of the settings and rules around connecting business manager accounts to individual accounts. And we encountered a scenario where we were going to potentially have to manually update logins and access connections for 1,800 properties. But your team was able to connect us with the right folks at Facebook who sort of said, "Ooh, we didn't really understand the implication that we've just caused. Let us help you figure out how to handle that without all that extra work." So that was wonderful. I think, one of the other areas that's been great is I kind of touched on earlier is the team at Reputation.com has been really open and transparent about your roadmap and has been great about reaching out to Greystar and saying, "Hey, we've got this new thing that we're testing. Would you like to be part of a beta program?" And we have clients and our own desires internally to really eat that stuff up. And we want to, yes, let's go figure it out. We just spoke about the results of that a couple of minutes ago, and we love that. So that's been super helpful. And those are things that individual people from your team have kind of helped us with. And then I think, the other aspect of the benefit, the invisible benefits of working with a company like yours or your platform that are really meaningful for Greystar has been things like we have one system that we're running across all of our communities. So when our team members are looking for career growth or new opportunities, that leasing professional has an opportunity to become an assistant manager in another community, or the community manager who's done a great job on a lease up has an opportunity to go take on a new assignment. They can go from property A to property B and still not have to worry about relearning all of that environment. So it creates great opportunities for them, but it also allows us on the back end to be really smart about how we can train and support internally any of the help desk or support needs that come up. And I think then by extension, it allows us as an organization to speak a common language. So, we can normalize all of our data points. Everybody can understand if we need to focus organizationally on this topic or that topic. That's been super helpful. And I think one of the other benefits that's maybe a little more selfish, but you guys give us dedicated support and points of contact for relationship management, right? So that makes it super easy. We don't have to play the game of telephone and navigate the hallways to figure out who it is we should be partnering with if we're trying to work on a roadmap item or we have an issue that pops up. But you've also allowed us to create efficiencies around product ordering and sort of the back-end accounting and sort of financial management, which I would bet many probably don't think about initially when they're looking at the relationship. And then maybe the most selfish of all is because we've made such a big bet with you, we can beat you up a little bit on buying power and pricing, right? So we love those things too.
That's great. And I'm wondering just some real life examples, like real world examples of when it was very helpful working with Reputation.com. When we really added value to your business would be very helpful.
Yeah. Again, that Facebook example really jumps out because I don't even want to think about how much time it would have taken our central team to have manually updated and communicated and retrained 1,800 different properties and the staff on those topics. So that's certainly a big one. I think the other things where you've really added value for us, I've touched on in different ways, but it's given us the ability to consolidate the number of supplier partners or vendor partners that we work with. And that may not seem like a big deal, but when you kind of step back in our industry and you realize in marketing, you might be partnering with 50 or 75 or 100 different companies. And if you can consolidate that down, it just allows you to be more nimble as an organization. When you find the right partner, it allows you to be more nimble as an organization and really be able to allow the team members to focus on the things that are most important, the strategy development, what are the insights or the analysis that comes from the data we're seeing, and how can we use that to continue to elevate our performance rather than, oh, I got to deal with login information again. And, because that's not where we're adding value, right? So I think those are some great ways that you all have made our lives easier.
It's fantastic. And you're such an expert within the property management industry, and Greystar is such a North Star when it comes to kind of industry leading best practice. So I'm wondering from you, if there's one thing that you want people to take away from this conversation, especially people within the property management industry, what would it be?
Well, I think I would tie it back to something Colby said at the intro, which was you'll have the opportunity to leave feedback. So you're only allowed to give us 4 and 5 star feedback, right? Just kidding.
Yeah.
I think if there was some parting words is, as an industry, we all know the importance of the online reputation management space. But, don't ever forget that this is not a set it and forget it concept. You as an organization, the leadership, the marketing team, the operations teams, you have to make a multi-year, long-term commitment to continue investing in this particular space, because there's no company in our industry that doesn't understand the most important thing we do is we're a people business, and we have to deliver an exceptional experience for our residents and our prospective residents. Yeah. And you can't do that if you don't have a full 360 perspective on how that works. And when you are building out your programs and you're finding your partners, I would encourage everyone to think in that long-term mentality. Who can serve my needs not only today, but tomorrow? Who's going to grow with me and be there along the way? And I have that inherent trust that we can make an 8-year plus relationship and not have to question it at any point along the way. Yeah. And for us, like when you're rolling out a program, everybody experiences this, but we always think about terms of there's the idea of adoption. Let's get everybody on board. Then we have to sort of move to a point of stabilization. Can we operate the program well? And then we can optimize the program. And as I said earlier, it took us 4 years just to get to a point in our own company where everybody said, yes, we're all in, let's do it. So we're talking 2016 at that point, and it probably took us another 2 years to get to a point where we felt we had the right adoption and it was stabilized and we had kind of good understanding of how everything worked across the entire company. And now we're really excited to be in a world where we can focus on optimization. Of course, you guys keep throwing new products at us to make it even better, and we got to kind of go back to square one with some of those. But that's the fun, is we're at a point where we can take on those new components and really get to, maybe not get to, because you'll never be there, but we have the light at the end of the tunnel towards trying to achieve the objectives that we set out.
That's great. I mean, there's so much good in terms of lessons learned around scalability, product functionality, the need to future-proof your business, and doing it all while working with a team that you feel comfortable with, that's consistently innovating and providing the best customer service possible. So that's great. This has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for your time, Greg. I've learned so much. I'm sure the people who are watching this have also learned so much. And I'm going to turn it back over to Colby to wrap us up.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
I really, really appreciate it. Greg, another huge thank you to have such a leader in the industry like you come on and really give us the 411 and everything, and the background and all the info that people should look for when looking for that reputation management partnership. And I'd like to leave everyone with just a little bit of information here on a slide. But yeah, if you'd like to learn more, please go to the attachments tab under your screen right now. And you can visit the Reputation.com property management page to schedule a demo of our platform or just a piece of it, whether you're interested in reviews or listings, social media, anything like that, as well as today's presentation deck is in that tab, and a link to our Reputation.com property management rep report is also in there, where we look at 70,000 plus multifamily properties and give a lot of background on their reputation scores. So, ladies and gentlemen, we really, really appreciate you hanging out with us. Once again, thank you very much to Mr. Greg Benson from Greystar and Rebecca Biestman from Reputation.com. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.